if we don't understand what the problems are and who the people are that are actually causing those problems, then I fear we're not going to be able to pursue the right solutions. So you have people like Kamala Harris, who has suggested a federal anti-money bail bill. No, you have people like the Attorney General now who succeeded Kamala Harris, Becerra, who gave a sort of beautiful press conference this week about how he's opposed to the money bail system. Make no mistake about it, these are very dangerous political actors. They're jumping onto a bandwagon issue that they think of as very popular so they can push a different agenda. So they can push an agenda I think, that has really two main components. One, increased pretrial detention without money bond so they can keep coercing guilty pleas, so they can keep the assembly line moving, number one. And Becerra, and this is, I don't know, those of you following the California stuff closely, in a little notice set of legal briefs, as he was saying that the money bond system is unconstitutional, he inserted a set of arguments about how California has no right to bail anymore. And the voters in California have silently repealed the right to bail, which has existed since 1849, and now have the right to engage in no bond detention in any and every case. Okay? A very dangerous set of arguments that he wasn't talking about at his press conference, but those are the arguments that he's pushing in court and that we're fighting against. So, Kamala Harris, Javier Becerra, people like Barack Obama, Eric Holder, these are the people that want business as usual to continue. This sort of system of mass assembly line, human caging, under the guise of reform. Back to Mr. Gilbert for just a second. What did Barack Obama do? Well, some of us raised some arguments. I wrote an op-ed in the New York Times that the New York Times toned down quite a bit. But then they put on this sort of like really incendiary headline, Obama's Department of Injustice. And as everyone knows, I actually personally call that agency the Department of Injustice, but I actually hadn't suggested that headline, but everyone thought that I had since I use it commonly. Obama and them were very upset at me. And there was a sort of public relations backlash. So in classic Obama fashion, what did he do? He issued a clemency for Ezel Gilbert. He got a lot of really good press in the Washington Post, the New York Times, sort of the fake progressive media. And he got a lot of people saying, Obama is such a great president. He cares so much about the criminal justice system. He released Ezel Gilbert, right? What those editorials and articles didn't say is that after going into the courts and assuring that tens of thousands of black prisoners would stay there on illegal sentences, Obama did like sort of the token clemency petition for a few hundred people. And that's what I fear is going to happen with the bail reform movement. You've got sort of unhinged sort of prosecutors like George Gascon in San Francisco who will rail all day against the bail system. But as some of you were talking on the earlier panel in the Kenneth Humphrey case that we won recently, we went into court yesterday morning in San Francisco to have Mr. Humphrey's new bail hearing. And George Gascon's prosecutors came into court and said, I'm sorry, Your Honor, Mr. Humphrey is not eligible for the Humphrey hearing that thousands of people around California are getting, because as a technicality, the opinion is not final in his case. So this court has no jurisdiction to hear his bail motion. So George Gascon is trying to keep Kenneth Humphrey in jail, even though people all over the state are getting Humphrey hearings, right? That's the kind of mindset that we're dealing with. And George Gascon also gave a pretty unhinged press conference yesterday where he argued for the end to the right to bail in California. So I say all of that to make a point about how indifferent we have become to human caging and how much our local and state legal systems rely on pretrial detention to keep the assembly line moving, to coerce guilty pleas like Tiffany was talking about. I would suspect, Tiffany, that most of your clients would have taken that misdemeanor plea because they wanted to get out and be with their families. And we all know the pressures that are on someone who's stuck in a jail cell prior to trial, and the importance of the right to bail, the importance of the right of a presumptively innocent person to be out of jail pending trial.